Yeah, coming to Docker, uh, uh, we need to configure Docker network actually. Okay, so how we will configure? First, I will draw the scenario. Okay, so this is a EC2 machine. Then on top of the EC2, we will install operating system, right? Some operating systems are there. Then on top of we install Docker. Okay. When we installing Docker, there is a default network it will create, okay, for the isolated containers actually. For example, we deploy one container here, right? So this is a container one, C1, and this will be this container two as well, okay? So this process, I mean, these containers actually need IP, okay, the private IP, also the network actually, okay, a virtual network. We call it as a virtual network. So the when installing Docker, there is a virtual network also created. Okay, that virtual network name mm, default bridge network. Okay, so the default network within the Docker, if you don't create anything, okay, there will be a default network there. Inside the network, actually, our application will deploy. Okay, I mean the container. Whenever we build, I mean build and running the containers, container will create, right? So the container goes to the default bridge. So uh, that is not a good practice. For example, some scenarios are there. Okay, we need to deploy application, but that application belongs within a dedicated network or a separate network. So in that case, actually, we have to create Docker network using Docker command. Okay, so that network, if we create a network, that network we called as a custom bridge network. Custom bridge network. And we can deploy our application to the custom network as well. So actually, what will happen on top of the Docker? It's a how we can say, like, it's a virtual network. Okay, it's a virtual network. Like, we set up some virtual switches. Okay, virtual switches within the Docker, similar like that. So, for example, the custom bridge network. Okay, so there is a one virtual switch here, and all the containers are connected to that switch. So we can call as a separate network that is called the default bridge network. So if we create another network, okay, a dedicated network for our application, then we create another network here. Okay, it's a similar kind of a switch-based virtual switch-based network actually. That's why we called a virtual network. Okay, so this is a network 2 and this is a network 1. One is called custom and second one is, sorry, one is the bridge, default bridge, and second one is a custom bridge. If we need to create another network, we can create. So that will be another custom bridge one. And we need to deploy our application to that network. So the containers will be running there, container 1 and container 2. And coming to the bridge network, okay, I told like we deployed two containers, container 1 and container 2. And these containers actually can talk actually, okay. So coming to the bridge network, how these containers talk using IP only, using IP. That means container 1, okay, container 1 needs to ping or communicate to container 2 using IP. There is a IP is there, okay, for each container. We need to take in that IP. So using that IP, we can connect with the one container to another that belongs to default network. So it's not a good way using IP because, for example, if one container is restarted, that IP will go on and it will get to private IP. So in that case, it's not a the best way to use. I mean, for communicating using IP. So the best one is using names actually. Okay, so we can directly looking the container name and create the configuration or creating or logging to the container like that. For using name, okay, like whenever we using ping connection and at the time we define the name, that is not supported in the default bridge network. That's all, that only supported in the custom bridge only. So coming to the custom bridge, we can use name. whenever we connecting. For example, the container one is name is web one, okay, and container two name is web two. So we can use ping connection to the container one, like container one ping to web one. So we can see the ping connection of the communication is established everything. Got it. Some other features like this is best for, I mean, custom bridge is best for resource isolation. Okay. So in this case, you can see we create a separate network and deploy our resources within that specific network, right? So we can say that our resources is isolated, and then stable IP support that is not allowed for the bridge network. So if we use a custom bridge, then IPv4 stable IP we can define or we can configure within the network. So similar way, these are the common features coming to default and custom. So for that, if you need to deploy some application, first we need to create a separate network. Then we deploy our application to the new network. So this is our default network. Default. I told you we create another network that is a custom. And by default, if any container belongs to the default network, can't communicate with the custom one. Okay. I told you these are actually virtual network actually. Okay. Isolated virtual network. This is another virtual network that we create the custom bridge. So this container can't talk with this container by default. If you need to create a connection, then we need to configure other thing. Then different networks are there. Okay, I mean, other than default network, one more network there coming to Docker. So first one is default network. And this is default bridge. Okay, bridge network. There is another option there that is host. Okay, host network. We call it as host network. So host network is actually the container share the host mission network stack. Okay, no network isolation in this case. So it will share the host network actually. There is one more options there that is none actually. So we can see the none network. So if we select a none network or a null network, that contains no network access. Okay, container have no network access in that case. So we can go with a quick lab. Okay, my machine is up and running. So first I am going to install Docker. Okay. Okay, Docker is successfully installed. So now if we need to check the Docker network, we need to run the Docker command. Okay, Docker network ls. So it will list the network. Okay. See here you can see the three types networks are there. So one is default network. Okay. Sorry, the bridge network. That one we discussed actually. So that is the custom bridge network. The name is bridge and the driver is bridge. So next one is host. This is the host mission network. Okay. So if you select that one, whenever we deploy an application, by default also goes to the bridge one. Okay, the first one. So if we need to select a specific network that is related to the host mission network, then we can define the host as well. And also you can see that none. So there is no network connection defined for the application. I mean the container. So now we are going to create our own network. That is a custom bridge network. So for that we need to run Docker command. Docker create uh, like my network. Okay, my network. So this will create a custom bridge network. Okay, so we can see the custom bridge network as well here. See, so the name is coming to our name. Then the type is bridge actually, but this is a custom bridge. Now we are good to create deploy the application, and whenever we deploy an application, we need to define the network as well using network flag. Okay, dash dash network. So I am going to create a simple network. I mean simple container using Docker command. Just to pull some Nginx image. Okay, dash t and Nginx. Strap. So now I am going to tag in the network. So using dash dash network, then we need to define the network that we created. The network name is my network. Then the image name. Okay, I'm using Nginx official image. So it will pull in the official image and create the container. Docker PS. See the Docker is, I mean the container is running. Got it. So this containers belongs to our dedicated network. So we can inspect that as well. Okay, Docker network inspect. So this is the configuration. Okay. Here we can see the public IPs as well. Now I am going to deploy one more container, okay, using the same image, but I don't define the network. Directly, I will pull one image. So that belongs to default network, okay. Happy to. Okay, here we can see we deployed two application, I mean two container. The second container, the listed first container is belongs to default network, okay. And the second container within the custom bridge network. One is default bridge network and second one is custom bridge network. So I am going to deploy one more container within my custom bridge network, okay. This is for testing the connectivity, okay. You will get more idea. So Nginx app one. I will name it as two. Okay, that's fine. So here we can see three Docker container running, and one is in custom bridge, and the rest of tools are in the the Nginx. This one and the first one is goes to the custom bridge, and this is default Nginx is using the default network. Now we need to test the connectivity. Okay, we can just pinging each container. Okay, so we can see how this works. Mm, See the error OCR runtime executant failed. Exit fail unable to start container process ping executable. Yeah, this is due to the I mean it's the ping command is not installed within the container actually. This is command actually what it do like first we log into this container and using the ping command to test the ping between the app Nginx app 1 and Nginx app 2. For that, we need to install ping command within the container Nginx app. For that, we need to log into the container using bit bash mode. Okay, bin bash ls. And now we successfully log into the uh, container. Now we need to install apt install nano. Package nano has no installation candidate. If you're facing similar like error, we need to update the package manager. Apt update. In container also we can update package manager. So see here all packages are updated. Now we need to run the install. Oh, we don't need to install nano, right? This actually. So we are going to install ping, okay? apt install ping. For ping, yeah, for ping actually we have to install the utility package, okay? This is the package name actually. So copy apt install. Yeah, it's fine. Now I am exiting. Docker ps. I install the ping, okay? Now we are good to ping, starting the ping, okay? So this command will start a ping test from Nginx app to Nginx app, sorry, Nginx app to Nginx application 2, okay? So hit enter. See, this is a successful ping connection result, okay? So that container can access or communicate with the second container within the same network. So now I am breaking that and try to ping to the default network container, okay? So the container name is default Nginx. See, the result is unknown host for the network because uh, give me a second. Okay. So here in coming to the container environment, okay, we have two network. So this is the default network. Inside the network, we deploy one container. Okay, that is this one, default container. So this belongs to here. And we created another network within our Docker environment. That is our custom list. The name is my network. And these two containers, okay, Nginx 2 and Nginx belongs to here. Two containers running here. And we install ping command in one of the container. So this is a Nginx container. And from here, we using ping test to the second container. So the result is this result, successful result. They can talk. And now after that, we checking the connectivity from this container to this container. Okay. So at that time, we will get this notification that is unknown host. That means this host, okay, this machine is not within the network. That's why we got this error, okay, unknown host. Got it. Any doubt?
Yes.
Anyone regarding the network part? So if we need to deploy a specific application, then it's better to create a dedicated network using Docker network and deploy the application to the network. So every container can talk to each other. So in this case, we can use name. Okay, for here you can see whenever I am using ping connection, I am using the container names. Okay, so coming to the default network, we don't use. I mean, we can't use this name. Okay, so we need to use IP instead of name.
So if we use IP, we can ping from the Nginx app to a default one.
No, 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 no. By default, we can't. By default, we can't ping from one network to another network. All good, right? Any doubt regarding network?
Can we recap? So there is a so each Docker container is like a separate computer, right? So initially when they're created, they have
Actually,
three.
not, yeah, we are not called as a separate container actually. It's a separate process only. That
Right.
means,
But the
yeah,
container simulates a computer, right? The
no,
process
no,
simulates a computer.
no.
Like it's
We
an
don't
image.
call, yeah, we don't call it as a computer actually for a, mm, that we called as a, it's a, like, it's a process, only doing the process that we defined.
Yes, but we can set up a whole environment inside it with the correct versions of everything. And
Right.
so
We
it
can call it
default,
as a embedded software, okay, for a
it's
container. It's
like a
like that. Yeah. So that process needs actually CPU, memory, network, everything actually.
right. So it has first the default, it has a bridge, host, and a null network, right?
Right.
And then from that we build out, we can create a network. I forget the command, Docker network,
Docker network create network name.
network name. So then that much I got. I
Hmm.
think I don't really understand. The bridge is the one that helps you create new networks.
Sorry, come again.
The bridge helps you create new networks, right?
By whenever we installing Docker, we can see three type of network there. One is bridge network that is called custom bridge sorry, a default bridge network. Then host network and null network or none network. So by default, if we did not mention any network, all the application that we deployed comes under the default network, default bridge network. Got it?
No, bridge network is the default network.
Right.
And what is the host network?
Host network is actually the host machine network. So the
Oh, okay.
host machine also there's a network, right? So we can leverage the host machine network. Then we need to define the host machine. Whenever we deploy an application, we need to define that.
And what does the null network do?
Null network actually, it's not network actually for null actually. So that containers belongs to null stage. There is no network,
So it's an isolated container?
right? All are isolated. Coming to the virtual network, all containers are isolated,
Right, but the null network is like just one container, not talking to anybody else.
right? Container have no
How can
network.
you use that container if
That's
it doesn't talk with anybody else? Unless you go inside it.
for that we need to exec Docker exec. So the non network means container have no network access. That's the definition. A single definition. Got it.
Now, can you repeat that last sentence you said?
Which one?
The last sentence you just said.
For the non network, right?
Yeah.
Containers have no network access.
Okay. If it's a null network.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Can you hand
The
out?
IP address ADD.
Yes.
First, you had all caps.
Oh, sorry. What is the name of default? This is a container name actually. Engine X. Yeah. So these are the IPs that using, okay, for the Nginx. Secondary terminal IP address 172.0.2. So this is a way finding the IPs, okay, for each container. Docker, PS. Nginx app, Nginx app 2. So this is for the Nginx. So the separate container you can see it's a different IP. So exchange 80, this is 80, another network actually. And this is 70. Got it. So the Nginx app belongs to the same network actually. See, 80. So if we deploy one more container, okay, we can see where it goes by default. Nginx new Docker PS. Okay, I deploy one more container and we need to check Nginx new. That might be under the 70 network actually, right?
Nginx app new.
Sorry. Yeah, see,
It's in 70. Yeah.
this is the default custom bridge. So if I deploy one more container to the same custom bridge, then that container get 17 IP. So we need to define the network as well. So dash network, my network.
Already Nginx app new is there, right? You have to change.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Linux amp new.
One.
See, that container belongs to the default. So this way it will isolate the network actually. Got it. All of you.
Yes.
Then coming to registries, okay. Docker registries. Anyone heard about Docker registry? Any idea?
It is the one where we push our images so that we can make reuse of the image whenever we want to build the same container.
Right. It's a Docker registry is where we are going to pull the image, okay, pulling, pushing, and distributing our Docker images. Okay. So it's a place or it's a storage actually. So there are different types of Docker register there. One is Docker's native or official registry that is called a Docker Hub. It's a cloud-based, sender repository. Okay, so we need to create a account within the Docker Hub, and we can use this registry. So from our local machine to this machine, we can push the image to Docker registry. So the push happen whenever we need the image. The image is saved here. Okay, whenever we pushing. After pushing, this image will be listed here within the Docker Hub. So anywhere we can log in the Docker Hub account. Okay. Only we need to that Docker Hub credentials. So also we can push the image from, pull the image from the Docker Hub to any of the machine. Okay, that machine only needs Docker installed. So this is the official one, Docker Hub. Then some other scenario, we need to set up a private registry. So the this Docker Hub also we can keep our images as private. Okay, private and public as per the requirement. So if we need to set up a private registry locally, then we need to, this is a local case, okay? How we will create our own registry in local. Local means within the same local machine or the virtual machine. So in that case, we need to set up a private registry. So this is the second one, okay? Private registry is the second one. And how we will set up the private registry? For example, we need to set up a virtual machine or a physical machine. On top of the machine, we need to install Docker. Okay, there's a OS there in between. And on top of the Docker, we will set up a container actually for the private registry. Okay, so there is a container we need to run. So this container image, we use registry image. This is the official image for creating a registry container. So there is a official image in Docker Hub that is called a registry. So using that image, we will create the container. So this will be our registry container, and we can push the image within inside the container as well. So this containers belongs in our local case, though no one can access the container outside our machine. Got it. Then some other container services are there, that is cloud-based services. So if we're using AWS, the AWS offers like container service that is called Elastic Container Service, ECS. If we're using Azure, the name is and Azure Container Registry, ECR, okay, not ECS. Elastic Container Registry, coming to Azure Container Registry, and coming to Google or GCP. GCP, the name is Google Container Registry, GCR. So we need to leverage those services as well. We can use the cloud specified container, and we can push the image to the corresponding container registry as well. So all these things based on the requirement. So we need to configure correspondingly. Got it. So tomorrow we can do some labs on Docker registry, Docker Hub, and set up a private registry. And we will push the image to the private registry as well. In that case, I will show you how to tagging Docker image. Before pushing, we need to tag the Docker image. So some tagging syntax are there, okay? The Docker, this is a command. First, we need to run the Docker command, then define the, using the tag, then define the image that we are going to tag. That is image name with the image tag name. Okay, latest one or V2, V3 like that. Then we need to define the host username. For example, if we deploy push the application to Docker registry, Docker Hub. So before we need to tag the image, okay? So I will show you how to tag it. Because we have different images here, right? Docker images. See, we have a Nginx image here, okay? So Now we are going to push this Nginx image to Docker Hub. Okay, our own Docker Hub. So for that, this is actually official image we pulled from Docker Hub. Okay, so there's official image. So now we are adding some application. Okay, consider like that. This image we adding some application or some configuration are there. Okay, we assume that we made some configuration. For example, we deploy some application. So if we push the image, then we can see the application as well whenever we pull it. Okay. So for tagging, first we need to tag the image. Docker tag the image name Nginx, then the version latest. Then we are going to tag with the username of Docker Hub. So this is the way we are tagging. So whenever we're tagging, we can see a tagged version of the image. See, this is a tag version. Now we need to log into the Docker Hub for pushing. So the name is Docker login, Docker login. So it will ask you for the username and password, but it's not a good idea to, expose our password. Okay, so for a better way, we need to create a personal access token within Docker Hub. So using the personal access token, we can authenticate from the local machine or the virtual machine to the this Docker Hub. So for that, we need to go to the account settings in Docker Hub and click on the personal access token. So here we need to generate a new token, or else we can use existing Docker access. No 30 days expiration, read, write, delete permission, generate. So here you can see the Docker login command as also and the password. You can use this Docker. Then go back, exit. So now we need to run the command. Okay, first we need to run the Docker login. So it's directly logging to the user, my username. Okay. They need to ask you for the password. So we need to use the token only. So don't need to use the password. So we using the personal access token. So login succeed. Now we can directly push the image, Docker images. So the Docker push, this is the command, Docker push the tagged image. See, it's pushed. Now we can see the image as well. Go to repository to view the latest image. See, this is the latest image, less than a minute ago. Got it. Last push less than a minute ago. Any doubt regarding the Docker push? So tomorrow we will set up a private registry, okay, and do the same within the private registry, like pulling and pushing. All good, right? All of you.
Yes, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a good morning. Good night to everybody over here. Thank you for the class.
We can wind up, right? All of you.
Sure.
Yep. Okay then. Bye bye all. Meet tomorrow.
Bye.
No doubt, right? All of you. Yeah. Okay.